Yo, I was in Raid the other day and I was topping the DPS meters and I got a lot of whispers from people asking me what my build was for it for Feral Druid. And hopefully you can find this video if you're one of those people. If you're not one of those people and you're watching, I'm going to do this build. First off, we got the talents. I'm going to try to keep the video short because I don't like when videos are long and drawn out. And I'm not going to cut it at all. But you're going to want Sabertooth, which is Ferocious Bite, deals 20% increased damage, and renews the rip on your target. For single target, this is the best. There's some fights where you're going to use Predator. I think there's really one fight that I use Predator on, which is Sun King, just because there's tons of ads, and you can pump damage with the reset of Tiger's Fury. For 25, you can choose whatever you want. I use Tiger Dash just to get around quick. For the 30 row, Balance, Guardian, Resto, roll balance just for the extra range on your attacks. You could choose Resto for Sun King, but you really don't need to unless you really want to off heal. Just go balance. 35, Mighty Bash, Mass Entanglement, Heart of the Wild. I roll Mighty Bash just for the extra stun. Mass Entanglement, there's not really a situation in Raid where it's really good. And Heart of the Wild doesn't do enough single target damage. Again, if you wanted to pair it with Resto and just get extra off heals, you can do that. Soul of the Forest, you're always going to take this no matter what in PvP, Mythic, Raid. Soul of the Forest, always. Savage Roar is not good, and I also said in my last video I wish it was better because this has a lot of potential to do different builds with Feral, but it's just not good at all. Soul of the Forest is way better. And Incarn and Raid is pretty much useless. 45, Sin of Blood, Brutal Slash, Primal Wrath. So, like I said earlier, with Predator on Sun King, I go Primal Wrath just to get that extra AoE damage and burn down the ads as quick as possible. But for single target bosses, you're going to choose Brutal Slash. It costs 25 energy and it does more damage than your Shred. For the 50 row, Moment of Clarity, Blood Talons, Feral Frenzy, I've seen a lot of people use different stuff, but in my opinion, there's no debate that Blood Talons is better, especially paired with your Legendary and Convoke. It's just pretty crazy. So speaking of Legendaries, I'm using the Apex Predator's Craving. I use it for Mythic Plus, PvP, and Raid just because it's best in slot for pretty much all of them. You're proccing Ferocious Bites is crazy that do maximum damage, and 4% chance. I mean, that's when you get a proc of maximum charge Ferocious Bite, deals tons of damage. So for Conduits, I'm going to roll Naya. I do roll Naya in Raid just for the Grove Invigoration. When you use Convoke, you're going to get 16 stacks of Redirected Anima, which is Redirected Anima increases your maximum health by 1% and your mastery by 25 for 30 seconds. The stacks also overlap, so this is crazy. Say you do your opener to get your Blood Talons up, and then you Convoke. This right here is you're gonna have 16 stacks of Redirected Anima. So every Ferocious Bite you do after that, and your rips will be buffed by your mastery from this conduit right here. For the potency, I use Taste of Blood just because Ferocious Bite deals 2.8% increased damage for each of your bleeds on the target. And for single target, you're almost always going to have 3 bleeds up. So that's 2.8 times 3. It buffs your Ferocious Bite like crazy. These ones don't really matter. I'm using the Born of the Wild's Finesse Conduit, just cooldown a Mighty Bash. You could use pretty much whatever you want there. So for trinkets, in the Mythic Plus video, I also said I was trying to get the Inscrutable Quantum device. I did get it out of my vault, which is fantastic at 216 item level. What this will do is if you use it before a fight, it'll buff your mastery. At least for me, it buffs my mastery, and it buffs it like crazy. So you're going to want to use this before your opener. I'm trying to get the Skulker's Wing still. I'm using this just as a filler. This isn't really good, but I am personally going for this right here. Skulker's Wing. Become the Skulking Predator for 10 seconds, gaining 144 speed and pouncing on the next enemy to come within 8 yards, dealing 8,633 physical damage. And it's a 1 minute and 30-second cooldown, which is really good. That's 8,000 more damage that you can do. So like I said before, I also got a lot of flack in that video and people messaging me about why I'm using Verse and Mastery. When I upgrade this, I'm probably going to do crit just because my mastery is already pretty high. My PvP, so that's what I went with when I first made it, and I just am too lazy to change it. I'm just going to wait for the upgrade next week and change it to crit. But yeah, so your rotation on single target bosses is going to be, you're going to pop the inscrutable quantum device right when you press rake. So you're going to go stealth, rake the target, use inscrutable quantum device because this will get you out of stealth. You don't want that. So rake, then you're going to thrash, then brutal slash, and that'll put your blood talons up, and you'll have 2 little thingies of blood talons. So your next 2 ferocious bites or rips will be buffed, and you're also using Sabertooth and Soul of the Forest. So this does 30%, this does 5%, and this does 25 or 20%. So that's a lot of buffs on your ferocious bite, and some of them buff your rip too. So you're gonna rake, thrash, brutal slash. You got all that up. Pop your Tiger's Fury, which increases the damage of all your attacks by 15% for their full duration, and it lasts 10 seconds. And immediately when you press that, you're gonna convoke. Your damage will go through the roof. Like, you will be top of the charts in the beginning. It's an insane amount of burst damage, and you should be pumping. Then after that, you can rip the target because you're going to have 5 combo points. You're going to do Berserk, and your abilities should still be buffed by Tiger's Fury and the Quantum Device. So you would just do the rotation with Brutal Slash, Shred, and Thrash. You want to keep Rake up. You want to try to keep Blood Talons up as much as possible. So every time you get a Ferocious Bite, you can do maximum damage. Ferocious Bite will also be proccing throughout the entire fight. So you'll get free Ferocious Bites as long as it procs. And that build right there should put Feral Druids at the top of the DPS meters. It puts me at the top pretty much almost every time. I'm top 3 in every boss fight. I know a lot of people are accepting more boomies than Ferals, and I don't know, trying to make videos on Feral Druids just to let people see that they're super good this expansion. You just got to use the right stuff. I'm also Night Fae. I think Convoke the Spirits is best for single target damage as well. Good for AoE too, but I know some people roll Kyrian. But I'm going to be trying to come out with more videos on Feral Druid, more guides, maybe some PvP videos because I mainly like to PvP. So if you like the content, feel free to like the video. Subscribe. You'll get notifications when I post a new video. And if you don't, you know, it is what it is.
What form do you take?
Appreciate you watching. Have a good day.